Hi there, Ewayne Decker, delving once again into the origin of my stories, and this time it'll be the occupational tourist. It came out of a drive with Klaus, heading up to Ventura to pick up our jarred honey, and I started to have names. I wrote them down. He asked what I was doing, and I said, well, I'm just writing names. He said, for what? I said, I'm not sure yet. And when I got home, I put the names to paper, and they came alive. Names like Ventu Haspier, Clovis Marshall, Jock McGrew, Sadie Dresner. Looking at this book, I think it's probably the most complex because the story itself spans over 90 years with 3 to 4 generations, with characters who are themselves independent of their interaction with the protagonist, Clovis Marshall, and yet all are influencers, as any family member would be with another. The title, of course, refers to our lives, tourists. We are all tourists on life's lease. I hope I have a long one. And we all have many occupations, henceforth, the occupational tourist. I was thinking of my late husband, Lionel, who loved New York, who was born in the 1920s. Fabulous time of Mafia, Chinese Tongs, Triads, burlesque and feathers in the back room. His time in the jungle, World War II, CIA, military weapons, physical and chemical, of course. And of all the population of people, and I say population of people because that's what it is, life, many things. So I've always been drawn to people who are my senior, certainly 10 to 20 years. And why? Because I just find it fascinating. I learn and I understand, and it's a world that I could never be part of, but could and can store all that information of the people, places, politics, social mores, music, books, films. I like to absorb. I guess that's why I like to do research. Simple as that. And then I like to share it. You know, the time period was so fascinating. It was comestible import economics of sugar, escargots, anchovies, candies, dried fish, the emergence of commercial airline. I mean, it was so vibrant. Imagine the time period itself. So one of the readers says, a wonderfully interesting story about a man and his family of the heart. It weaves back and forth in time as the main character reviews his life, sharing with the reader the great and tragic times in his life, the people who made difference in his life, and how he made a difference in the world. Another wrote that the narrator has an engaging and energetic way of communicating. Decker does her research. She offers fascinating tutorials on a variety of subjects from Chinese history to air travel, to sweatshops and business models. She says the recounting on page 27 of air travel in its early days is fascinating in its complexity and very thoroughly researched. Moreover, she says, I will never again look at snails offered on a restaurant menu without thinking of Monsieur Marcel's methodically, depicted on page 31. I learned more about Fidel Castro, page 65, 66, from reading this book than any history lesson ever taught me, and the story is delightful and the characters are likable, especially Sadie and Sylvette. So there we are.